Hello and welcome to this week's Weekly Wind-Up with me, Helen Ashcroft. Now what I'm going to cover today is a deeper insight into just one of the ramifications about the closure of the A&E department at Huddersfield Royal Infirmary. The right care, right time, right place people who are behind the bid to close A&E say they have covered every angle. But on this programme, I'm going to suggest that however inadvertently, their study is actually not extensive enough. And so what we're going to do today is we're going to look at the transportation problems. Ambulance chiefs admit they have no figures for ambulance timing in Kirklees outlying areas, but point to a study which claims the closure of Huddersfield A&E will actually have no significant disproportionate impact on how long the journey to Halifax will actually take. However, that survey was commissioned by the very people who were planning the closure at Huddersfield A&E. So imagine an emergency dash to Calderdale Royal Infirmary from say as far away as Marsden. Will they actually be taken to Oldham? Or will they actually get to Halifax Royal Infirmary? Paramedic ambulance staff are already on record as saying, we simply don't have the resources to cope with every Kirklees patient's emergency to take them up to Calderdale Royal Infirmary, and the planned downgrading of Dewsbury will only make the situation worse. Now this is before we think about the only major road between the two hospitals, the A629. Where in rush hours it's actually more common to be at a standstill than to be moving. So how are the blue light emergencies actually going to get through without death-threatening delays? All this with the NHS itself demanding that every top priority response should not take more than 8 minutes. Here to discuss the dilemma and talk about how the campaign against the closure is going is Natalie Ratcliffe. Before we speak to Natalie, KLTV have covered 3 of the demonstrations, and here's what the residents of Kirklees have to say.
Health chiefs have been meeting today to discuss if plans to close Huddersfield A&E and potentially demolish the site are ready to go to public consultation. Under the proposals, life-threatening cases will be treated at Calderdale Royal Hospital, Halifax, while a newly built Huddersfield Royal Infirmary will tackle less serious cases.
I've just spoken to somebody who's on the clinical commissioning group. It came out to deliver the unpopular message to people who want to get into that meeting. There's not enough public space. We've underestimated the number of people who would turn up. I said, you've underestimated, do you not realise how angry people are about what's going on?
People don't realise the implications that has on safety for students and overall. A lot of people coming from different places around the country, even international students coming in, they want to feel safe in Huddersfield. They want to know that there's a working A&E department not that far away, not 20-30 miles away. And that I can add to people that are playing sports for sports teams and societies doing activities. We regularly get people that are coming in every 2 weeks, they're going to A&E. What's going to happen to them?
Colleague, fellow campaigners in North Kirklees regarding the Dewsbury Hospital, and with Halifax and the wider Calderdale area campaigners, all fighting together.
Well, I'm the Member of Parliament for the Huddersfield Royal Infirmary. It's in my constituency, and these proposals are absolutely appalling and shocking. I use HRI, my family do, we live locally. They really do need to think again. How can a growing university town of Huddersfield be left with no A&E at all?
Personally, Calderdale Hospital's not big enough to accommodate another A&E department, the waiting area, and they've only a few rooms over there. Plus the fact the Ellen bypass on the way from Huddersfield is horrendous with traffic. It is only 3 years ago today that a friend of mine's child was born on the bypass because Huddersfield had closed the maternity down. Now that child's life the baby's life was in danger, her life was in danger, and there was no medic staff around when she was out delivering it.
Shocking, speaking from personal experience, having been in A&E 3 years ago, helped save my life. And shocking because it's a political decision. It's part of the process of privatising the NHS, and I'm here and I'm totally opposed to that.
More people than I thought they were going to be. So yeah, it's good. Because it's our hospital and it's our HRI and it's our accident and emergency, we pay for it and we can't not have it. We need an A&E.
It's not fit for purpose. I just think that they need to make it better or close it down. At the minute, it's just not fit for purpose.
I think it's gone very well. There's been a great deal of people. The support,
good attendance, very good attendance.
Yeah, the support's been absolutely amazing. And it shows how important it is to people. It's showing unity in the community for keeping the accident emergency departments open throughout the NHS, not just necessarily in Huddersfield. It's something that we can't lose, because once it's gone, we'll never get it back.
Hello Natalie, thank you ever so much for coming on today's programme.
Thanks very much for inviting me.
No worries. So, how is the campaign going at the moment?
It's going really well, really well.
Good.
There are lots of diverse people involved in the steering group, and the subgroups which are out in different sections of the community, they're going really strong as well. In terms of the campaign itself, what we're doing is, at the minute, is we've been effectively compiling arguments against the one proposal that the CCGs have put out to us.
Right.
We're also doing lots and lots of fundraising because we're wanting to raise money in case we have to put a legal challenge in.
Yes.
And we've been told that roughly the money for a legal challenge could be potentially up to 50k. So we do.
Wow.
Yeah. So we are doing a lot of fundraisers. And just to give one of them a little plug, there's one on the 27th of March at the Picturedrome, which is ticketed, but all the groups are playing for free, and all the money goes straight back into
and what time's that? What time's
that starts at 6 at the Picturedrome in Holmfair.
And how would somebody get a ticket for that?
They're selling tickets at Vinyl Tap in town. They're selling them at the Picturedrome.
Yeah.
And if anybody contacted any of the steering group on Facebook or on our website, you could get a ticket for that.
Brilliant. Now, obviously today I'd like to look at one aspect, and that's the transportation.
Yes.
So what are your thoughts on the transportation issues that could happen?
My thoughts are, there's about 5.5 miles between HRI and Calderdale.
Okay.
But as we all know, there's the dreaded Ainley top bypass in between.
Yeah.
And our major concerns are, if it's rush hour, or if it's most times in the day you've got a bottleneck down just before Salter Hebble. And our major concern is how are the blue lights, if everything goes to Calderdale, how are they going to get there?
Yeah. How many ambulances are actually within this area?
I believe there are 3 ambulances within this area.
3?
Yes, 3.
Say somebody rings the emergency services and they are fortunate enough to get one of these 3 ambulances. Going down Ellen Bypass, we're going to have the sirens, we're going to have the lights, and we're hoping that the cars are going to part. Let's go with the scenario that there are no ambulances. Not one of the 3 is available. And so the patient or the casualty, whoever it is, has to get to the hospital and has to be taken by another means of transport, which potentially could be car, taxi.
Even a bus.
Even the bus.
Yeah.
What do you think could happen?
Well, potentially there could be fatalities. Potentially. That's something we've been asking the CCGs, because apparently one of the reasons for the reconfiguration, which is putting everything at Calderdale and just having an urgent care centre in Huddersfield, is because apparently we have too many fatalities in this area, but the CCG won't give us the figures for those fatalities, or what is a reasonable amount of fatalities, if you like, if that makes sense. There's a gentleman called Sean Doyle, who's a marathon runner, who won't mind me mentioning his name.
Right.
He had a really serious heart attack, and had he have had to get to Calderdale, he would have died.
Now that is scary.
So, I mean, what they're proposing is very scary, because they're proposing we have an urgent care centre in Huddersfield and an accident or emergency centre, as they call it, in Calderdale. What we're asking is, what is the difference between an urgent care centre and an emergency centre.
And what have they said on that one? What is the difference?
They've not said.
But they must know, surely, because if they're saying that it's an emergency care centre, they've labelled it.
Yes.
So why are they not? What do you think the reason is for not saying?
They're leaving it until they start the consultation, I think. We've seen a pre-consultation document.
Right.
And I surmise that an urgent care centre would be somewhere where you'd go with a broken bone or trips and falls. But for me, I've got 3 children. If something happens to one of my kids, it's an emergency. So I wouldn't be going to urgent care centre. I'd be straight down Ainley bypass to Calderdale. So potentially that'll just get locked.
So you're talking about this consultation document. What's this?
What the CCGs have done is they created a document which is called the pre-consultation document, which is supposed to set out what their intentions are, which is roughly how we know what their proposal is.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Now, what we've been asking for, and other pressure groups have been asking for, is before we go into the consultation, we, the public, would like to see what we're being consulted upon before we can make any kinds of decisions.
But to play a bit of devil's advocate here, if they close Huddersfield A&E, that means that the money that was spent there will actually then be transferred over to Halifax. You're shaking your head?
No. What they're trying to do is, there's a big PFI debt in Calderdale, Halifax, as we know. The hospital was built under PFI initiative. What this is fundamentally trying to do is shave some of the debt off.
Right.
And that's ultimately, they've said that if everything's streamlined, so to speak, and moved to Calderdale, they'll save 31 million.
Right.
But if everything was up at Huddersfield, then they wouldn't save anything. That's top and bottom of it. It's about saving money. But our argument is because there will still be a hospital at Huddersfield, but it won't have an emergency centre. And our argument is, as a pressure group, is we want an A&E at both sites.
So, I mean, what I'm picking up from yourself is the fact that there's been a lot of talk about things that are changing, but you haven't actually got full explanations. No. But the bottom line is, it's the distance between Huddersfield and Calderdale, and it's the fact of that road.
Yeah.
That's the basis. If the road, let's think about this on a different slant. If the road was improved into such a way that there was a better access, would that make it more user-friendly to people, do you think?
I don't think it would, because what you've got to think about is this area is full of hills and there's a big rural population and it's spread out far and wide. So it doesn't matter if they're 5.5 miles apart, because if you have to come from home first, that in 5.5, you've got an extra 5.5 miles to go. Yeah, if you think about in London, hospitals are tripping over each other, and the infrastructure there is so good. It wouldn't matter because you could but the infrastructure here isn't good, and you want to get a bus from home first to Halifax or Marsden to Halifax, for example.
Thank you ever so much for that, Natalie. So there you have one take on the aspect of the proposed closure of Huddersfield A&E. Join us on Wednesday when the Mayor's charity concert for diabetes care brought the town hall down literally when it staged the last concert in the town hall before it closes for refurbishment. Monday the 21st of March, Dave Hodgson will be in the chair and talking to Dr. Steve Ollerton of the Clinical Commissioning Group to discuss their Right Care, Right Time, Right Place programme. Please remember, if you would like to comment on this story, please contact us on Twitter @TheWeeklyWindup and on Facebook, or you can email us at info@kirkleeslocaltv.com. So that's it from me, Helen Ashcroft, Kirklees Local TV. Thank you.
However large or small your business, Attracting new customers requires dedication and a lot of patience. Just like fishing, but you also need the right gear.
Rods, reels, lines, hooks, sinkers, lures, tackle box, tackle bag, net, bait, gaff, gloves, clothes, and pocket knife lunch.
Or you could simply advertise with KLTV. Online, grow your business and your clientele. KLTV, your vision made reality. Should have gone to KLTV.